Hey everybody, this is Boris Schlossberg, BKTraderFx, our weekly session for February 15th. We're going to discuss today, I think, something that really happens much more often than not, which is the imperfect trade. You know, there's so many times where we have the perfect setup, the perfect trade, perfect money management. It all looks so brilliant in retrospect, and you look like a hero. But most of the time, you're really slogging on through with imperfect information, imperfect ideas, and frankly, a lot of times, imperfect execution. Dollar yen at the end of this week was a perfect example of this fallibility, of this imperfectibility of the markets. Originally, we actually wanted to trade Aussie yen. Let me just pull this up and show you. Aussie yen would have been a brilliant trade. We would have been gotten long like right around here, and it was just one-way ticket upstairs. The one problem, however, was that we were bearish the Aussie employment number. Kathy had it on her calendar, given a lot of her analytical work, that it was actually going to be soft. And we make a very strong rule that we never get long something that we don't have a good fundamental feel about. In retrospect, that would have been a very good trade, but we just didn't get into the Aussie yen at that point. We also fooled around with the idea of trading Kiwi yen, which also would have been, let me just pull this up, another great idea, just almost a straight fashion upward move. But again, passed on it simply because we had event risk ahead of that, which also wasn't quite good. So it comes to our third idea. And this is exactly what happens a lot of times in the market. Sometimes you don't get to choose your first two. You kind of go for your third idea. We got long dollar yen, basically on the idea that U.S. trade balance was going to be better than we thought, better than the market thought. And we were dead right on that. But let me just show you how the trade sort of played itself out. We got long, like right around here, around 108.28. And as you see, actually, the trade just bounced around against us for quite a lot of times. We went all the way down to 108, bounced back up, just consolidated. There was very, very little price action to want to make dollar yen move higher. And we go through the European session just doing churning, essentially staying within our buy point, a little bit up, a little bit down below it. Now comes the U.S. trade data. And as you can see, the trade data was better than expected. And essentially within an hour of the trade data, our trade begins to work. It starts to explode upward. Our original target was around 69 or 68, around 40 points in the money. But after having gotten into this level, I noticed it was having a very hard time breaking the 108.60 level. So right away, right over here, right away I said, you know what? We're going to get defensive. I'm going to bank profits right now, and then we'll see what happens. We sold half right around here at 108.57, which happens to be actually 3 points off the high. And it's hung around there for a good 10-15 minutes. So everybody had a chance to clear out and at least take some profits. But here's where defensive trading really comes into play. We moved right away to the break-even point. And the other reason why I was cautious about this trade was because I knew that Bernanke was coming up afterwards. And I was hopeful, but afraid. Hopeful that Bernanke was going to be bullish, but afraid that he could be dour and bearish. And lo and behold, Bernanke was very, very bearish in his testimony. That drove dollar yen all the way back down as everybody assumed that interest rates are going to be cut by another 50 basis points come March. And of course, the whole trade fell apart. But this is a perfect example of how you stick with a trade, take advantage when the market gives it to you, and then go right back into defensive mode because you're basically constantly managing against risk. Turned out to be a pretty good trade in a pretty lackluster selection. And that tends to be the story of the day quite often when you're trading. Making lemonade when you get lemons. I wish you the best of luck next week. Boris Schlossberg for BKT over and out. We'll talk to you then.